5 days a week, students file into school to learn necessary life skills for when they are adults. Most public schools go from the morning well into the afternoon, and at some point during the school day, lunch is offered. Every day, roughly 30 million students get the school lunch provided by the Department of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture has a food and nutrition program that regulates what food is served.
Is the government doing a good job of feeding children healthy meals, or is it just barely qualifying as a meal? Children need to grow, and healthy food is a big factor in growing.
Kids who go to school who are hungry can't learn. That's why school meals are so important. That school breakfast or school lunch is every bit as important to a child's ability to learn as a textbook or a laptop.
We interviewed dietitian and nutritionalist Catherine Barrick to learn her opinion on how nutritious school lunch is. After factoring in the price of paying school district staff who transport and prepare the food, the school is left with only around 60 cents per student meal.
If they can do this on 60 cents per person, I think they're doing a really good job. But it does impact what they can serve. It impacts the variety. Yes, it is nutritious, but it lacks variety for several reasons.
So school lunch is nutritious but lacks variety. But how easy is it to get school lunch? In 2020, a pandemic started that made it improbable to go to school and other places in public. People who relied on the school lunch to keep their stomachs full found themselves in a tricky spot now that school was online.
It's logistically so challenging to make sure that kids get lunch and breakfast and an after-school snack. It's really been almost catastrophic. I have to say the schools have done a Herculean job in finding alternative ways to feed kids, and a lot of the work of Share Our Strength and our No Kid Hungry campaign, including about $60 million in grants that started in the spring and will go till December, has been to make sure that school districts all around the country have what they need to feed kids in an alternative way.
During those troubled times, some schools allowed parents to pick up food from outside the school, and thus allowed students to get their school lunch that they would have received if not for the pandemic. Meanwhile, other schools had to throw out unused food.
So instead of feeding them in the classroom or in the cafeteria, if the schools are closed, there's grab-and-go meals at a tent outside the school.
And not all students were able to pick up lunch. A projected 13 million children were food insecure in 2020.
It's important that kids eat because it affects how you can learn that day too.
Before the pandemic even started, there was a different factor making it hard for some people to get school lunch: the price. In Mill Valley, California, parents can pay up to $6.80 for a school lunch. That's roughly $1,224 per school year if a child gets hot lunch every single day. A problem that America faces is that there are not enough federal laws that determine how much a school can charge for its lunch. However, as of 2020, the federal government has served roughly 24,600,000 students at a reduced cost or free school lunch through the National School Lunch Program.
But then in April of 2021, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced that the school lunch for the 2021-2022 school year would be free. Impoverished children would be able to eat knowing that their parent or guardian had one less cost to pay.
This new act seemed like the solution to all the problems that surrounded school lunch. For once, it seemed like this story was going to have a happy ending.
Except not all schools wanted to abide by this new act. In June of 2021, Waukesha, Wisconsin voted against the new policy and stuck with the old policy for reduced prices for the select few. When asked about the topic, board member Karen R. said that the free program made it easier for families to become spoiled.
However, the tide turned later that summer when the board changed its ruling on school lunch. While the families and kids of Waukesha rejoiced, others were not as lucky. Around the U.S., there are still a handful of schools that don't have free school lunch. Throughout all the challenges, changes have been made or are being made. Lunch became free, and schools still find ways to feed hundreds of students with just 60 cents a student.
And with the help of the USDA, millions of students just like me are getting lunches that keep students from going hungry.
School lunch is one of the most important parts of the school day, and it's important to remember the words of Jim McGovern.
Kids who go to school who are hungry can't learn. That's why school meals are so important. That school breakfast or school lunch is every bit as important to a child's ability to learn as a textbook or a laptop.